My brother is sick, I came instead, I told my blind date. And she said, best date I've ever had. The phone call came just 30 minutes before the date, and it felt like the universe had decided to ruin everything. My younger brother's voice was weak, trembling, and barely recognizable as he called from his apartment across town. He had been fighting a severe flu for days, but that evening it had become much worse. He sounded exhausted, frightened, and completely alone. At the exact same moment, I was standing in front of my mirror adjusting my jacket, preparing for a blind date that had been arranged by mutual friends weeks earlier. Before we begin this emotional story, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Love Tales if you believe that kindness and genuine love still exist in this world. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories like this one to life. I rushed to my brother's apartment without thinking twice. Family had always come first. Growing up after losing our parents at a young age, we had only each other. Every achievement, every setback, every birthday, and every difficult night had been shared between us. The idea of leaving him alone while he struggled to breathe made the decision easy. By the time I arrived, he was curled up on his couch under 3 blankets. His face was pale, and his fever was burning hot. I spent the next hour making soup, organizing his medications, cleaning the apartment, and convincing him to see a doctor the following morning. While checking my phone, I noticed several missed messages reminding me about the blind date. Normally, I would have canceled immediately. But something strange stopped me. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was curiosity. Or maybe it was the feeling that life had become nothing but responsibilities and sacrifices for so long that I deserved one evening for myself. After making sure my brother was stable and comfortable, I headed to the restaurant, arriving nearly an hour late. The entire drive there, guilt sat heavily in my chest. I expected my date to be angry. I expected her to leave before I arrived. I rehearsed apology after apology in my head. When I finally entered the restaurant, she was still there. She sat alone near the window, looking out at the city lights reflected on the rain-soaked streets. The restaurant was nearly empty now. Soft music floated through the room while waiters quietly cleared tables around us. As I approached, my heart pounded with embarrassment. I immediately explained the situation. I told her my brother was sick and needed help. I told her I understood if she was upset or wanted to leave. I admitted that I had almost canceled entirely. Then I said the words that would unexpectedly change my life. My brother is sick. I came instead. For a second, she simply stared at me. Then she smiled. Not a forced smile. Not a polite smile. A genuine smile. And what she said next completely stunned me. She told me it was the best date she had ever had. At first, I thought she was joking. But then she explained. Most people, she said, spend dates trying to impress each other. They talk about careers, vacations, accomplishments, and carefully edited versions of themselves. Yet in the first 30 seconds, she had learned something far more important about me than any perfect conversation could reveal. She had learned that when someone I loved needed me, I showed up. That simple observation hit me harder than I expected. The evening unfolded naturally after that. There was no pressure. No pretending. No performance. We talked for hours. She shared stories about caring for her grandmother through illness. I spoke about raising my younger brother after our parents died. We laughed over embarrassing childhood memories and reflected on how life's hardest moments often reveal the deepest parts of our character. Outside, the rain continued falling. Inside, something warm and unexpected was growing between two strangers. As the restaurant prepared to close, neither of us wanted the conversation to end. We walked through the quiet streets together beneath a shared umbrella. The city lights shimmered in puddles around us while the cool night air carried the scent of rain and fresh pavement. For the first time in years, I felt understood. Not admired. Not judged. Understood. Over the following weeks, we continued seeing each other. She met my brother. My brother adored her immediately. She brought homemade soup when he was recovering. She remembered small details about everyone's lives. She treated people with the same kindness whether they were family members, restaurant servers, or strangers passing on the street. Slowly, she became part of our little family. Months turned into years. And one evening, while standing beneath another rainy sky that reminded me of our first meeting, I asked her to marry me. She said yes. Today, when people ask how we met, they expect some romantic fairy tale. Instead, I tell them about a missed schedule, a sick brother, a late arrival, and a woman who recognized something valuable in a moment I thought had ruined everything. Sometimes life doesn't reward perfection. Sometimes it rewards compassion. Sometimes the very thing that seems like a disaster becomes the beginning of something beautiful. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Love Tales. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more people who need a little hope in their lives. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness creates miracles," if you believe that caring for others always comes back in unexpected ways. Years later, my wife still laughs whenever we tell the story. She says she knew that night that there was something different about me. I still tell her that she was the extraordinary one, the person who looked beyond inconvenience and saw character. And every time I remember that rainy evening, I realize something important. The best moments in life rarely arrive as planned. Sometimes they begin with sacrifice. Sometimes they begin with love. And sometimes they begin with the simple words, "My brother is sick. I came instead."